in this video we are going to look at the method of string collapsing. So string collapsing is a really fun technique you can use to actually remove parts of strings quickly, leveraging a replace method. Now, what often happens when students are first learning this, we talk about how you can add strings together. So I could do something like, this would be the exact same thing, ensuring that I get the spaces in there because that's what we sometimes forget, right? So this is an example of adding strings, so concatenation, putting them together, and so we're going to get the exact same thing. And this is a really useful technique. But sometimes students will try and do things like they'll try and subtract strings, but to remove parts of it. And I've seen lots of different ways that they try and do this, but ultimately it doesn't work. So it turns out you can collapse strings using the replace method. So let's start. Let me show you how the replace method works. So I'm going to say word1 equals, and I'm going to say word1 dot replace, and I'm going to replace all of the A's in this case, and I'm going to replace it with stars. So what the replace method does, if I go now and print word1, so let's just understand this. We have word1 as Arachne and Athena, wonderful Greek myth. And I say word1.replace, and I'm going to replace all the A's in word1 with stars, and the result I'm going to return and put it back into word1, and I print that. So now what I get, oops, Python 3 strings. Oh, I spelt it wrong. Python 3 T. Let me just rename it here. There we go. Now you should run. There you go. So notice we get Arachne and Athena, and they've been replaced with stars. Great. Well, watch this. Well, if I make that second value, if I make that second parameter, so the way replace works is the first parameter is what we're looking for, and then we're replacing all instances with the second parameter. If I make it an empty string, what it does is it collapses the string. So it actually replaces all the A's, and in this case the small a's, with an empty string, meaning it shrinks. And so this is a really quick way you can subtract or remove words or letters. I could make this and as well, and so now we get rid of the and. And if I want, I could put a space on either side of it, or a space on one side of it. Maybe I'm going to remove all of that and just replace it with a single space. And so you can kind of really quickly remove strings. Well, this is useful for a number of reasons. So let me show you one technique that I know students have used in the past. Well, let's say I have word2, and word2 is going to be a bunch of characters. But I know that the word cat appears in there a couple times. So if we look at this, I might give you a question. I say, I want you to count the number of times that cat appears in this string. And you can look at this and you would say, okay, there's 1, I come across, and there's 2. So there's 2 times that the word cat appears. And again, I could write a loop to do this, which is a very important technique, but it turns out you can leverage this replace method in an interesting way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a word3, and just to show you something, I'm going to take this exact text, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to replace the cat. So we're going to do that. Imagine we did that replace with an empty string. This is what we're going to end up with. And so if we look at this, let's count the lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this has a length equal to 15. And this has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has a length of 9. And did any of you right away say, well, that's obviously a length of 9? And the reason why you said obviously a length of 9 is because if you remove 2 cats, that's 6 characters, and so 15 minus 6 is 9. And that's true. Well, it turns out what we can do is we can replace all of the cats with an empty string and then compare the respective lengths. So let's do that. So I'm going to say word3 is equal to word2 dot replace, and I'm going to replace all of the cat variables with an empty string, so I'm collapsing my string. And now I'm going to say length of word2 equals len word2, and I'm going to say length of word3 equals len word3. So I now have the length of word 2. I have the length of word 3, right? And then what I can do is, well, there's a little math that needs to happen here. And some people will say, oh, the scary math. Please don't be scared of math. Please don't even say that math is hard or scary. Like, I know it can be challenging, but it's a lot about mindset. And so I really want you to engage in this with a positive mindset. Nothing's worse than I watch these tutorials out there that are doing really cool stuff, and there's these just casual remarks about math being really hard. It's challenging, yes, but it's well within everyone's ability right here. Okay, there's my little moment. All right, so let's take this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the result is equal to, well, I'm going to take the length of word 2 minus the length of word 3. So I'm going to subtract those. And let's just take a look at what we get here. So I'm going to print result. So if I run this now, notice I get 6. And the reason I get 6 is because, again, we gave that example, is that if cat appears twice in this sentence, that means that 6 letters gets pulled out. So if I want to know how many cats actually appear, I'm going to take the length of word 2 minus length of word 1 divided by 3, which is the length of cat. And we get 2.0. There you go. Now, how many of you are saying, wait a second, why are they getting 2.0? 2.0 now, obviously, this is where Python's trying to be helpful. It says, oh, you're taking an integer minus an integer, and you're dividing by an integer, but I'm going to return that as the float because chances are there could be a decimal there. Now, I don't expect you to, obviously say I could have come up with this easily. But what I think is really good here is to kind of take notice of this replace method, because it is a very powerful and very useful method, and it will allow you to do a lot of really interesting things quickly. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day.